Um, through identity, self-knowledge, and self-revelation.
Yeah.
Um, it doesn't have to be a critical point, some kind of traumatic, bonding moment, um, but come to the light.
Yep.
Just,
Know thyself.
release everything that you think you know.
Yes. Oh, brother, yes. This is so that's such an important point. You have to strip yourself of everything that you have loaded and carried as you. You have to go down to bareness.
I know
Go
no
back to the
thing.
pureness.
I know
Nothing.
no thing.
Nothing. Exactly. Because you think you know everything, so you can't know nothing. Because you already know everything. And that was what my problem was. I knew that I did not know anything. And I wanted to know. Yeah, I wanted to know. I said, reveal to me this truth.
Give it to me.
Yeah. I hate this ignorance that I am in, not knowing the self.
You gonna get everything you ask for.
Yeah.
So be very careful and be mindful, because you gonna get what you ask for. When you find yourself, when you find this light.
Yeah, that's a very important point, brother, because they're holding on to all these things. They know everything. They won't even give a chance to listen. Even if you, because it happens in my experience with others. I'm trying to share. They don't even want to hear because they know everything already.
Oh, what I gotta do? Oh, no, I done heard that already. I done seen that. No,
yeah, I know.
You ain't seen self already.
Yeah.
You ain't seen truth. Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
So
you'll thank yourself later for this book.
Yep. It's very, very important that we do that. We strip ourselves of all the things that we have carried, that we think that we are. Bring ourselves back to the pure nothingness.
Indeed.
You know?
Mind, body, and spirit. I personally, I wanted to, in the physical form, rid, I was in the Marines.
Yeah.
We were induced with every form of whatever current vaccine was on the market. Shit, they doping us up. Pick an arm, pick a nostril with all this nasal spray, all that craziness. Yeah. So for me personally, I was like, hey, how do I get all of this out of my system and still survive? Look, I was asking questions at a time when, I'm instrumental in participating in the Iraq War, and my superiors at the time were servicemen, Marines who had served in Desert Shield and Desert Storm. Some of their children was messed up from all of this extra stuff that was going on. Spiritually, that was messing me up, because I'm like, hey, hold on now. I'll go anywhere in the world you want to send me at that time. And so I just wanted, now, look, mama ain't raised no fool. Look here, is it safe to take all of this XYZ dope y'all finna give us and then go to a theater of war, perform the function of this crazed mentality based on some congressmen and women, all this other kind of crazy stuff, right? I got to take all of this into my mind, my body, and my spirit, right? So then I'm asking the questions, hey, how do I get this out of my system to where nothing's going to happen to my children when I start having children? Or I don't even want these complications. I don't even want that craziness to even be approached. You know what I'm saying? Like, get it out. So they looking at me like I'm crazy. Crazy.
Yeah.
I said, hey, hold on now. All right, y'all got me. So I'm finna get y'all. I'm out. I'm done. I'm finna move around. And then I went on a self-cleansing. Let me learn the herbs. Let me learn the different, so I can get my mind back, because this ain't right. So, hey, do what you got to do.
Yep, you do. You definitely have to, you have to be dedicated. You have to want this more than anything else. You have to want to know the truth. Want to know the truth. You just got to let go of all the things that you've been holding. And I mean, I had to do that. I decided, because in my experience, I from childhood, I was being chased by the gods. So I was battling with the gods from I was a child. And then finally I decided that, you know what, I think I was 28 or something. And I said, you know what, I'm going to stop being afraid. And I faced a lot of things when I was having a lot of visions. And then I was feeling overwhelmed, and I was getting the feeling that, I think I was 28, I was getting the feeling that I wanted to die. And so this is another thing that I wanted to talk about, because I know a lot of people get these feelings, and when the beings are coming to battle with you, or when the time is coming for you to make a change in your life, this feeling comes to you that you want to die. But we mistake this feeling. It means that this self, that this character that we in must die.
It's shedding.
This character must die. Is the character that must die for the real self to come alive. And I never understood that when a dagger appeared. And I'm like, what does this mean? a dagger appeared, and the dagger kept appearing, and I kept ignoring the dagger. And then when I asked myself, like, because then it was the great I am, and it was still the great I am, because the Jasmine did not merge in with Isis yet. You know what I'm saying? And so she was saying, like, what does this mean? Because the dagger kept appearing, and then the guru awakes within you, the teacher awakes within you to help you, to castrate the ego. And this was it was coming to that point for me to castrate the ego, but I didn't know that. You know, so that's why the dagger was appearing. And so it says you have to castrate the ego, you have to jab him. Jab the ego, you know, because it's a special spiritual knife or dagger, or metaphysical, or whatever the term is. I don't know, but it's to destroy the ego with it. And so let me tell you something. The ego was running. I could not believe it. The ego was running up my foot, running up the foot, running up the body, and speaking, said, no, don't, you can't get rid of me. And I was serious. I said, but I don't want to explore the world anymore in the ego. I said, I want to know myself. I want to know my truth. I want to know this truth. I can no longer, you know, keep this ego. You have to go. And it was one fight when the self was pulling the ego off, because I'm seeing all the visions, you know. Now I can't see lots of vision because the Supreme has closed my eyes, my vision. But then I see the self pulling the ego and parting, putting the void between. Because when you have the consciousness, the light is obscure behind the self. And when you wake up the great I am, this is how you get to know. You can get to see the self. The consciousness is here and the self is hidden behind it. And so now the Supreme Teacher was putting a space between the consciousness and the self, so that I could have the void, and it pulling the ego off. and I was wondering why. What are you doing? What's happening? So everything I would see, it's such an amazing experience that I'm telling you, it's just mind blowing. That when you come into this realization and this real, and you experience the real and the truth, and then when you go out there, somebody's saying, I don't know what you're talking about. But yes, so because the self and the consciousness is on one sheet right now, there's no space between it. It's on one sheet. And when I saw, this is how I was able to do this. Because when I saw the consciousness, this was how it looked. It was like that with black and blue. Like you know, but it more looked squiggle. It wasn't straight line, but it was more squiggly. And I was like, okay. So I was able to recreate a, kind of a copy. So, but this is how it exists. But when you give the ego back, this is how your consciousness becomes. You have the consciousness on the right side, and the self now moves to this side. And then behind the self, it has a consciousness, cause of the light, because I am not the non-dual being. Because if I had the non-dual being, then the consciousness would be in awareness of itself. It would have void between it. But I can't. The Supreme can't do that to me now, because the consciousness is always trying to battle with me. The consciousness that is the world, that is creating the world in a dream. Yeah. So the consciousness that all of us have a piece of it. So I still have the consciousness. The only thing is that It's not attached to me. It's not attached to it's separated. There's void between it. You know, I am like the partial non-dual being right now, while you are like a duality being. You know, so that's the difference. I am partial duality. So I have the void between me and the consciousness, and then I also have the self and light behind the self. Yeah. So but I can't get the non-dual consciousness at the moment. Like, you know, Haile Selassie became a non-dual being while he was here. This was the reason why they could not overthrow Ethiopia, because Haile Selassie went through all of these processes that I went through, and came into realization of the self. And Haile Selassie also moved to a higher state than Jesus did, because Jesus only became a enlightened being. He was able to get his light to shine because he found out that Shiva was his father. And this was the reason why he was talking from that, you know, from the father perspective, the masculine perspective. Because when he found Shiva, he never inquired further to find the supreme self. You have to want to get to the root. I was very adamant that I want to get to the root of all things, the root of my existence. I did not want to stop anywhere. So this is the reason why I was able to come into the awareness. So many beings on the planet who are enlightened beings, but they never get to the self-supreme primal light, because they did not even know that the self-supreme primal light exists. They stop at Brahman. Brahman is the mind of the self-supreme primal light. And now when I'm trying to tell them that, they're wondering like, where you coming from trying to tell me this truth? You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying that was only the mind of the self-supreme primal light. So you have to want to get to the root to get to the truth. And I was adamant about getting to the truth because I was battling with the gods. Did you ever had those journey with battling with the gods?